The long-term position of Gabriel Martinelli has always been debated, despite playing as a left winger for most of this season. Let's find out today if Mikel Arteta has been secretly training him in another role. Also, has Takehiro Tomiyasu returned to full training? And what did Josh Kroenke have to say about Arsenal in his latest exclusive interview? Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Baus14. Welcome back to your boys channel. We're back again with that Arsenal news. So if you do enjoy the content, make sure to go down there and smash a like on the video, and also do subscribe to the channel if you are new, because as you guys are already aware, we're on the road to 80,000 subscribers. But let's get into that Arsenal news, and starting off with Gabriel Martinelli. There's a lot of debate that us Arsenal fans have about what is he going to be going into the future. Is he going to be a left winger, that wide forward type of player like a Salah or Mane, or is he potentially going to play as a centre forward? With the departure of Aubameyang and the lack of other centre forward options, it looks like Mikel Arteta has a secret plan up his sleeves, because you've had Chris Wheatley report recently that Gabriel Martinelli has been playing as a 9 in training sessions at London Colney. So Pele's godson has been training as a centre forward, which is very interesting, because when it comes to just natural ability of a centre forward, you know, the movement in behind, the finishing in front of goal, that calmness, that composure, that eye for space as well, I think a lot of that comes naturally to Gabriel Martinelli. In terms of where the improvements are very clear, of course, is in terms of back to play goal. If you want to play as a striker in Arsenal system like Alexandre Lacazette, who isn't a great goal scorer, but when it comes to playing to his back to goal, he's a far stronger player physically than Gabriel Martinelli. In the games that he has played there, he has kind of struggled physically. Going back to last year, he started against West Brom towards the end of the year at the Emirates, and he did struggle physically. And even in terms of this year, in our second game against Chelsea at the Emirates, he started as a striker, and again, he just didn't have that physique to get into the game. But that was a long time ago, and since then, Martinelli has come on quite a bit in terms of physically one, but now he's also become a first team Arsenal regular. And you even have ex-Arsenal player Paul Merson saying, if I were Arteta, I'd start playing Martinelli up front. Arsenal could spend a lot of money on a striker, but the player they're looking for might already be at the club. Martinelli is lively and quick, and he has what it takes. Now, in terms of myself, I do have massive physical doubts, but at the same time, there's nothing there that can't be improved in terms of training or physically in terms of diet-wise. So the fact that Mikel Arteta has identified that, and he's now playing Martinelli as a centre forward in training, it says to me that potentially in the future, don't be surprised if we see Gabriel starting as a striker somewhere in the near future. But what do you guys make of Gabriel Martinelli? And be honest with yourselves here, what do you think is his future best position in an Arsenal shirt? But talking about strikers, what about AC Milan's? But talking about forwards, what about AC Milan's Rafael Leao? Well, today you have La Repubblica in Italy reporting that Leao is liked by half of the Premier League, but Arsenal are the team that lead for his signing. But AC Milan see Leao as irreplaceable and want to lock the player down for as long as possible, as his current deal expires in 2024. Rafael Leao, 22 years of age, a full-on Portuguese international and plays, as you guys know, in the Serie A for AC Milan. In terms of stats this year, I believe he has 10 goals and 6 assists. So not only is he putting goals and assists on the table as it stands, but also going into the future, Leao has a very bright future in football. He has a lot of good fundamentals. He is very good in terms of ball to feet, excels when it comes to dribbles, and he's a bit like Gabriel Martinelli in the sense of he's a winger/striker type of player. So I can definitely see why Arsenal like this player, but going into the summer, I'm sick and tired of Arsenal and Italian club sagas. We've been there with Locatelli, we've been there with Dusan Vlahovic. As much as I like Rafael Leao as a player, I don't want to go back to the Serie A for transfers. I've been heartbroken too many times. I think he's a tremendous potential player, but as I said, Italian clubs, Arsenal Football Club, we just can't make sense of it. But what do you guys make of the Portuguese international that is Rafael Leao, and would you take him at Arsenal Football Club? It's stat time of the day, and here are Arsenal's top scorers this season in all competitions. The top goal scorer is Smith Rowe with 9 goals, and you have Aubameyang and Saka with 7, Nketiah, Lacazette and 5, and Martin Odegaard and Gabriel Martinelli, who both have 4. So far Arsenal don't have a single player to hit double digits this season, which I'm sure a lot of Arsenal fans are going to be concerned by that, especially by the fact that our top goal scorer in Smith Rowe isn't even starting, and in terms of our second top goal scorer in Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, he's no longer at the club. But one thing I will say is, at least in terms of since Aubameyang's departure of the first team, we have seen a lot of the goals shared around the Arsenal team. So even though I do have my concerns, especially over Alexandre Lacazette, I still do trust this Arsenal team as long as they have the platform to build upon. The likes of Xhaka and Partey are going to be very important. But in terms of yourselves, now that you've seen Arsenal's top goal scorers, do you see enough goals in this current Arsenal team without players going forwards that you trust these Arsenal players to get us into the Champions League places? But putting the attack to one side for a second, let's talk the defence as well. Because today we have seen the return of Mr. Consistent as Takehiro Tomiyasu is back in full Arsenal training. The more you think about it, in terms of comparing Arsenal to the other top 4 teams, you look at Tottenham Hotspur, you look at Man United, and these teams just aren't convincing defensively at all. And in terms of Arsenal, defence seems to be one of our biggest strengths, and to have Tomiyasu back in our back 5 is a massive boost for Arsenal, because defensively we're a level above the rest of our competition. Okay, moving on to the Arsenal ownership, let's talk the Kroenkes. The owners of Arsenal Football Club, the Kroenkes, Kroenke Sports and Entertainment, and these guys have always been divisive within the Arsenal fan base. But after Stan Kroenke's LA Rams won the Super Bowl, Fabrizio Romano says, "I want to tell Arsenal fans, don't worry, the summer will be busy for Arsenal. They will go for a new midfielder and a new top striker, so don't worry, they will do something important." So Fabrizio Romano assuring Arsenal fans once again that Arsenal are going to be active in the summer transfer window, signing a top midfielder, signing a top striker. Us Arsenal fans, I guess, have room to be, dare I say, excited. And in terms of KC and the sports clubs these guys own across the world, it's not just Arsenal Football Club. And in terms of those teams, they are seeing a bit of success now. In their NBA team, the Denver Nuggets, they have the reigning MVP, the most valuable player in Nikola Jokic. And even in terms of the LA Rams, as you guys just seen, they've won the Super Bowl. It's very proven now that these guys do have a lot of success in the other teams that these guys own. But in terms of Josh Kroenke himself, speaking in an exclusive podcast, when asked on European football supporters, he says, "It's hard to truly relate as an American or as a foreigner heading into the UK, the passion that really goes on from the people that support these clubs." And also when asked about the Invincibles, he says, "We're trying really hard to reach that level again." Now, while it's great to hear on paper, of course, in terms of the Invincibles themselves, it's going to be very hard for any team to get to the level again, let alone Arsenal Football Club. But in terms of Arsenal Football Club, regardless of your thoughts on the manager, I think it's very clear to see what these guys are at least trying to do. Whether that be the players is signing, the profile of the age, the characters are signing, but also in terms of the young players like Smith Rowe and Saka coming through from Hell End all the way to this Arsenal first team. Say what you want, but I am actually very excited for once in terms of the squad of players that we have, the way these guys are going to improve, the characters they are, and I feel more connected to these Arsenal players. But talk to me down below in the comments on your own thoughts of these Arsenal owners right now, the Kroenkes, and what do you see in terms of what these guys are trying to do behind the scenes? Do you see signs of progress? I'm not saying trust the process, but do you see at least what they're trying to do? According to La Gazzetta dello Sport, the Jose Mourinho will be given a £100 million transfer budget in the summer with Granit Xhaka as his main and only midfield target. And even in terms of Chris Wheatley, he says Roma are once again being linked with a move for Granit Xhaka. As reported last week, the Italian side will attempt to sign the Swiss international this summer. I'm not surprised by this, I've already spoken about this many times, but what I will say in terms of Roma, you guys do have £100 million to give to Jose Mourinho. I don't want to see you guys become cheapskates FC again when it comes to the transfer market, because in the last window, Arsenal wanted just £50 million and these guys could only offer 10. But while we are talking Mr. Granit Xhaka, what do you guys think is the realistic market value that Arsenal will be setting on the Swiss international? But if Xhaka is to leave Arsenal, Arsenal will need to sign a replacement. Yesterday we discussed the possibility of Arsenal signing Belgian international Yuri Tielemans, but in terms of today, according to Voltsport in the Netherlands, Arsenal are interested in signing Feyenoord midfielder Orkun Kokcu. Turkish international that is Orkun Kokcu, I believe he's 22 years of age. As you can see, he plays for Feyenoord in the Eredivisie, and in terms of the type of player, he is a number 10/number 8. He's a box-to-box midfielder, and I guess he could play in a 4-3-3. And it's also worth noting that in the past, Kokcu has been linked to Arsenal as well. I believe back in 2020, actually, your boy made a video about him. So he's clearly a player that Arsenal, I guess, do like, but at the same time, in terms of the reported price tag we're hearing here, reports are claiming that around £50 million is what it's going to take to get Kokcu out of Feyenoord. If the fee is £50 million, I think Kokcu is a decent player, but I don't think he's worth that sort of money. And at the same time, I'm sure Arsenal also have other bigger targets they want to sign instead. Fabrizio Romano is reporting today that Manchester City are leading the race to sign Savinho, a talented Brazilian winger born in 2004, with the official bid to Atletico Mineiro €6.5 million plus add-ons, with Arsenal and the Red Bull groups also having contacted to sign the player. Now I can hear you guys asking, who exactly is Savinho? Savinho is a player who is 17 years of age, and he is a very talented Brazilian young winger coming through the ranks at Atletico Mineiro player. But in terms of Arsenal Football Club, I don't think we require any more young wingers. We have already Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli, but also in terms of a certain Omari Hutchinson coming through as well. Now, of course, you do have links in Brazil in terms of Edu Gaspar, so I guess it makes sense on that behalf, but for Arsenal Football Club with the players that we already have, so sorry Mr. Savinho, but it's going to be a Savinho no from me. Okay, let's move on to the other Arsenal news today, and starting off with our Mbappe of centre-backs. Playing in Marseille, we're talking William Saliba, who for the month of January has been named the Marseille Player of the Month. William Saliba continues to excel in Ligue 1 for Marseille, and I can see why so many of the fans are falling in love with this player and they're desperate to keep him. But in terms of Arsenal Football Club, you guys know the story. He wants to come back to Arsenal wants to bring him back, and then you have the prospect of Gabriel Magalhaes, Benjamin White and William Saliba. Just picture those three players there and go back a few years ago when we had the likes of Socrates, Mustafi and David Luiz. I guess we have come a very long way since then. Here is a graphic which shows Arsenal's goal probability added by passing per 90 minutes, and as you can see at the top of the list is Martin Odegaard, Arsenal's most efficient passer when it comes to getting the ball into the back of the net. To put it very simply, the more that Odegaard gets the ball, the more he passes, the higher likely of chance that Arsenal after scoring a goal. And the stats ultimately back up the eye test as well that we see week in week out. Odegaard has a massive threat in that final third. But my question to you is, who do you think in our current team is Arsenal's most important attacker? Moving on to the top 4 race, and starting off with Manchester United, who despite not being at their best, managed to beat Brighton 2-0 at home. And with that, in terms of the Premier League table, they move up to 4th place above West Ham, with West Ham on 41 points, Arsenal 6th with 39 points, and Wolves and Spurs down in 7th and 8th. So with that win, United opening up a 4-point gap to Arsenal in 6th place, which of course Arsenal do have 3 games in hand, but I keep saying it, I don't like being games in hand FC. Also, when you take into account the games in hand that Arsenal do have, they're not going to be easy. We've got Chelsea away, Tottenham away, Wolverhampton Wanderers at home. But in terms of Man United today, watching these guys play, even though they won that game, Brighton should have been 2-0 up in that first half, and United were once again not very convincing. And so that's why we look at the games that these guys have coming up, which after Brighton is Leeds away, Watford at home, Man City away, Spurs at home and Liverpool away. And that is actually leaving out the games against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League as well. And here are Spurs' next 6 games as well. Man City away, Burnley away, Leeds away, Everton at home, United away and West Ham at home as well. And then finally, in terms of Arsenal's next 6 games, you got Brentford at home, Wolves at home, Watford away, Leicester at home, Aston Villa away and Crystal Palace away. So even though Arsenal's games are very tricky in comparison to what United have, what Spurs have, even Wolves and West Ham, Arsenal technically do have, I guess, a bit more of a favourable run. 39 points already on the board. With 16 games left, that is 48 points left to play for. If Arsenal can get even, I guess, 32, 33 out of that, that should be enough to secure Champions League football. And I'm sure there will be more twists and turns to come, but once again, it's top 4 race, let's just say it's getting very interesting. But that is the video around there. If you guys have enjoyed, make sure to go down there and smash a like on the video, and also do subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you would like to follow your boy on them social medias, then the links will be down below in the description. But that was all the latest Arsenal news today, so as always, I hope you guys have been left very informed, and Gabriel Martinelli is his future as a potential centre forward. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see, and I will see you next time in a bit.